Everybody, and we'll ask you if you are not the one speaking to please mute your microphone so we can reduce echoes. But we are going to call to order at 10:01 the Board of Commissioners meeting for Thursday, September 3rd. We are going to begin with an opportunity for public comment. Are there any items that appear on that do not appear on the agenda that anybody would like to make public comment on? You're feel free to unmute yourself and we'll recognize people in the order that they'd like to speak. So any public comment on anything that we're not going to be discussing today on the agenda? Okay, hearing none, we will move into our meeting minutes. And for the meeting today, it'll just be myself and Commissioner Dersham. Commissioner Higgins is attending a 911 advisory board meeting for the state of Pennsylvania. He's unable to join us. So I will offer to my fellow Commissioner Dersham, if he'd be willing to make the motions, I will be willing to second them.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. So we'll move into the minutes and we'll look for a motion to approve those.
So moved.
I'll second the motion to approve the minutes from August 27th. Any further discussion on the minutes?
None.
Okay, none as well from my end. All those in favor of approving say aye. Aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Okay, going into our COVID-19 planning and response, we have a CRBG update as always. Anything that we wanted to discuss or talk about on this item? And I'll look to Margaret or Mary Kay. Anything we'd like to add today on this?
Hi, I'd be happy to share some good news. The business application is up and running, and we're experiencing little things that we're taking care of along the way. And Chad Joyce is on the call, and I would like to give him recognition for a superb job that he's done for this application process. And I didn't know if our current update is that we have 70 completed and 150 in progress. So we're climbing and the mountain and opening the door. So I'm pretty excited about that. And also the Small Business Development Center it's just been a fantastic partnership. And Elizabeth Hay, I know, is on the call. Elizabeth, is there anything that you wanted to mention from your end from the Small Business Development Center?
No, I've been working with just answering questions and as they come in, and it's been pretty easy solutions. So with Chad's help as far as technicalities and your help as far as advice on, just small nuances, it's gone very, very well.
Great. Well, very much appreciate the partnership because it's working out very well for us, and I appreciate that. And speaking of partnerships, I'm sorry, am I talking too fast?
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. Speaking of positive partnerships, I've been working with Molly Kunkel out at Center Foundation, and we are talking about the nonprofit grant application process. So we are moving right along, and we have some dates as far as hallmarks that we're hoping to share with you. And Molly, would you mind sharing those? Because she was great enough to be on the call with us this morning. Thank you, Molly.
Sure. Good morning, everybody. Great. We are really excited. Center Foundation is really pleased to be able to partner here. I think it's obviously a great thing for the nonprofit community, and we are really happy to be able to partner and help out with that. We've been working with Mary Kay. She's been a fabulous resource and really just been really helpful, providing lots of information and answering questions. So we have been working for, 10 days or so on figuring out what should be in that application and what that's going to look like. And so what we're hoping to be able to do, we have the dates we'd like to propose to open the nonprofits right after the small business closes. So that small business closes on Friday the 11th. I believe we will open the nonprofit application on September 14th. Give people 2 weeks to fill out those applications. So have the due date for those be September 28th. And then take 2 weeks again to process them behind the scenes, and hope to then anticipate getting the recommendations to the commissioners and back through Mary Kay on October 12th. So that's what we're looking at right now, and assuming, I think those are all very doable dates. And so we're, again, excited to be partnering, and look forward to getting more information along the way.
Excellent.
Thank you, Molly.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to say just a brief thank you to Molly for all the work she's done on this. Also, in addition, the Action Fund that you've been working with through the Knight Foundation has been really tremendous. So that's been a great resource for nonprofits currently. And I think if I can share my perspective, is the fact that you have that grant in place that nonprofits can apply for and receive funding. And I think you've just awarded your second round of that. That's allowed us to focus on our business grant, get that finished, and then also tap into your application process and augment that. So it's been a tremendous help. You've been helping nonprofits weather the storm, and we really appreciate that. So thanks, Molly.
Thanks so much.
So thank you very much. I appreciate it. And Commissioner Pipe, just this morning, I sent over an updated pie chart on allocations. Do you want to talk about this now, later, or at another meeting?
Sure. If it's okay if we revisit it at another meeting, I think that would be appropriate.
Fantastic. Thank you. That is all for my updates, unless anybody has any questions for me, or if anybody has anything else that they want to add. If Margaret wants to add anything about municipalities or anything, I'm happy to defer any additional comments.
Thanks, Mary Kay. And we know that so if there's any, Commissioner Dersham, any questions for Mary Kay or Molly?
Well, actually, just two comments. One of the programs that I found out about last night, there's a program for milk producers, dairy farmers, if you will, to receive. There's about $18 million statewide, and it's really been underutilized. And the opportunities for some of our dairy farmers to access those funds is a real deal right now. So I'm going to forward the information to you, Mary Kay, so we can get the word out to the farming community who may be able to take advantage of that. And I think that's a very important component to this whole conversation, because dairy farmers were struggling before the COVID issue, but now now they're even struggling more. So I think it's an opportunity for us to at least get the word out to the farming community about those dollars.
That's terrific. That's terrific.
I just want to mention, yesterday I had a couple opportunities with some of the commissioners to present with a downtown improvement district with Commissioner Higgins, and the CBICC with Commissioner Pipe. And then I worked with the Industrial Development Corp in the afternoon. So Commissioner Pipe, Higgins, or Dersham, if any of you have any opportunities. So Commissioner Dersham, if this group has some sort of gathering or something we could call a Zoom call together, I'm happy to do that, or I'm happy to go out into the community if there's anything that I could help get the word out. I'm very happy to do that.
Well, they have a website, and they have some an FAQ sheet that probably provides all the information, and I can give you the contact information for the lead person who will be able to answer probably the more direct questions about the program. So I'll get that to you. It's not today, tomorrow.
Fantastic. And I just saw Elizabeth Hay from SBDC said that I'll share that information with her, and she can send it out even through her Small Business Development Center connections and contacts.
Thank you.
You had mentioned two things. Was there something else that for me that you wanted me to know about?
No, nothing urgent. That's the main one.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm super excited that we're on the way and we're having a good response, and we just have to keep at it. So again, I want to thank the internal team members as well as the external team members. This really does take a village to keep the boat rowing in the direction, and I'm very grateful for everybody's help. So thank you very much, and I'll pause now.
Okay, thank you, Mary Kay. And a huge part of the impact that COVID-19 has had on our community has been through our municipalities. And we recently released $1.7 million in eligible reimbursement for municipalities, and Margaret has been leading that up. Is there any? We received an update on Tuesday, Margaret, about some of the municipalities that had gotten us contracts back. Any other municipalities that have returned that since, or are we still standing at 2?
Morning. We're still standing at 2 received recipient agreements. However, I have had multiple phone calls with municipalities asking some questions and just thinking through how they might be able to expend the funds. So I expect that within the next week we'll have more recipient agreements in hand.
Okay, excellent. All right, super. Thank you, Margaret. Okay. Any public comment on our CRBG grant that anybody would like to add at this time?
Commissioner Pike, this is Jeff Warren down at EMA. Would this be the time you'd want me to go over PPE?
Sure, Jeff. If you'd like to do that, that would be terrific. Thank you.
Sure. So last week we were able to divvy everything up and get it to all the schools, including all the charter and private schools and Christian academies and CPI. So they're all taken care of. They've all received their shipment. We also took care of the training center yesterday. We've come up with a mathematical equation for all the first responders based upon last year's calls, because this year's calls haven't been the same, that's for sure. And we have everything divided up and have the stockpiles ready to go out to the first responders, and we'll be doing that. Also, we're reaching out to the business entities, and we're going to be doing that. We might get CLOG EMA to help us out in the State College area. Sean has indicated that he's not very busy. He helped us deliver to some of the schools down there. So between PIC, CBICC, and some of the other organizations, we'll get that done. Also, we're in communications with Mountain Ending Medical Center, and we should have them taken care of very soon.
Thank you for the update, Jeff. We appreciate that. Steve, any questions before we go on?
Nope, I'm good to go. Thanks, Jeff.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Jeff. And we may every Thursday, if you could, just give us an update, brief one at this meeting. I think we'd appreciate that, and we can just follow along with the progress. But we appreciate you mobilizing and delivering. Thank you. Okay. All right, heading on with the rest of our agenda, we did have a discussion item regarding the CARES Act allocation, Mount Nittany Medical Center, but I had added this on as a discussion item, but I think I would prefer waiting until Commissioner Higgins can join us at a future meeting to discuss this. So for the time being, I'll save my comments for that for a later meeting. But we do have one other personnel item, which is for records management. And Margaret, if you could provide any context to this, or Chad, we would turn it over to you, Margaret, first.
Certainly. The item for approval this morning is to consider the reinstatement of Paige Fryock. She's a receiving clerk working in our records department. She would be returning from part-time furlough to regular full-time status effective Tuesday, September the 8th. And she would be spending and splitting her time between the records department and helping out with our election staff, since they need the extra support and assistance now through the date of the November election.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you, Margaret. Any questions on this comments? All right. Hearing none, would there be a motion to bring Paige back from part-time to full-time status?
I will make the motion.
And I will second the motion. Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye?
Aye.
Motion is carried. Okay, thank you, Margaret. Going into personnel items, we have our first one is going to be for non-COVID related planning and response. is going to be for consider approval of the extension, the second extension for the leave of absence for Deb Homan, Assistant Director of Adult Services. We look for a motion to approve the extension for leave of absence.
We'll make the motion.
And I will second it. It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on that?
No.
Hearing none. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Okay. We do have a consider approval of the personnel requisition for a full-time correctional officer. We would look for a motion to do that.
So moved.
I will second it. It's been moved and seconded to approve the personnel requisition for full-time CO. Any further discussion? Okay. Hearing none. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Okay. Moving into our election section, we are going to be considering the approval of a personnel requisition for an on-call occasional senior advisor in the elections office. And this would be effective September 4th. And we'll be looking to take action on filling that position when we get into the salary board meeting. So we would look for a motion to consider approval of the personnel requisition.
So moved.
And I will second it. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Okay. And lastly, we have the consider approval of the personnel requisition for full-time Department Clerk 2 in tax assessment. We'd look for a motion to approve the personnel requisition.
So moved.
I will second that. It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on that? Hearing none. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. We have 3 items for report on the judicial personnel items, and they're listed on our agenda today. We have no report for row office personnel items, but we do have 2 non-personnel items that we want to discuss, and we would turn it over to Margaret to lead us in this discussion.
Thank you. This morning we have 2 contracts to consider, function agreements, each with the Penn Stater for 2 different events. The first is a request from Judge Marshall and Court Administration asking the Board of Commissioners to consider using the Penn Stater for 2 days in October 22nd and 23rd for the purpose of jury selection. As you may know, jury selection was held at the Penn Stater for the jury that's taken place this week. It all went well. The space allowed for adequate physical distancing, and they would like to repeat this in October. The cost that would be applied to our in-kind balance with Penn State would be $8,000. So that's item 1. The second item is a similar function agreement with Penn State for use of the Penn Stater for 5 days from October 31st through 6 p.m. on November 4th to allow us the ability to count ballots off-site and provide, again, the appropriate physical distancing and space needed to count many ballots. So that price is $15,000, again, applied to our balance of in-kind funds with the university. And again, 5 days, October 31st through November the 4th. So I'm looking for approval to sign those function agreements. I would also note that if for some reason we decided for the October 31st through November 4th dates to not use that, there is a fee that we would have to pay that increases as we get closer to the event date.
Okay. Thank you very much, Margaret. I know from speaking with folks who attended the jury selection from citizens and also the courts that it went well from what we hear. And so it was a good operation that they ran up there. And for the elections as well, this would be, as you mentioned, a potential pre-canvass of the ballots before they are tabulated and the results are given out here at the Willowbank building after polls close on election night. But currently, as we all know, there's legislation that potentially would move that pre-canvassing date up. The Board of Elections and Commissioners really out of an abundance of of just having options. If they move that pre-canvassing date up, that would allow us to begin as early as October 31st. However, if they don't do that, we would still be able to set up the room in preparation for the 7 a.m. start on Election Day of these ballots. So this is giving us a really good window, and we really appreciate the partnership with the Penn Stater to allow us to get in there and to use this to help us conduct the election. So any other questions, comments, Commissioner Dershowitz?
None.
Okay. Would you be comfortable making a motion for both of those agreements?
So moved.
I will second it. It has been moved and seconded to approve both agreements with the Penn Stater for jury selection and the November elections. Is there any further discussion on either of those items?
None.
Hearing none, all of those in favor of approving say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. The motion is carried. Okay. Thank you very much, Margaret. Do we have any other executive sessions to report, Margaret?
No executive sessions to report.
Okay. Thank you. At this time, we'll extend the opportunity for anybody from the press who's on the call to ask us any questions. The commissioners, before we head into the salary board meeting, would there be any questions from the press at this time? Okay, hearing none, we'd also, again, after our salary board meeting, extend the same opportunity. We look for a motion to adjourn the Board of Commissioners meeting for September 3rd at 10:22.
So moved.
I will second it. It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.